Welcome to Being Joyful and Alive, the podcast that reconnects. Yeah, this is another English episode, although I notice my English is not at its very best right now, but I still had a really wonderful conversation with my friend Anne, who I met in Orville in India, where we did Medi-clowning together, which is the other episode about. Yeah, Anne is a really strong, beautiful, powerful woman which I love to talk to, and I love to follow her on Instagram. She shares so beautiful content and she's really embodying like her wisdom. She's sharing a lot about sensuality and really expressing your authentic self and being with all the emotions and all the ugly shit and just integrating it all and celebrating this expression of life. So today we dive into this exploring and embodiment of our inner nature and how this outer and inner nature connects. And yeah, how you can also come home to yourself and find this juiciness in life. Yeah, Anne, I always have like the same first question I ask, and that's how I want to begin with you as well. And the question is, what do you love about being alive?
Wow. Mm, I need to let that one land for a bit. Wow. What I love about life is literally continuously being in this space that goes or to the extreme left side or extreme to the right. And what this life is the in between of those. It's it's not the happiness all the time and the sadness on the other time. It's the weaving of those two together and to be able to play all the time in every single moment of life in this in between world. That for me is the most mind blowing piece of being alive. That's for me what it means to be alive. And yes, that includes I love to be with my family. I love to hold space. I love to give so much more of myself to the world. But really, that in between, that being on the edge, that's the best. To realize that it can be so simple as looking outside of yourself to nature. I think that's already hooking into where we're going to talk about probably, but yes, the inspiration come from the inside, being in that in-between space and looking on the outside, what that reflects back on you.
Wow. It already feels so rich. You wrote on your Insta bio, awaken the juiciness of life through communing with nature. What does that mean to you?
Mm, yes, what does that mean? I think it has a lot to do with what I just said. It's living in a life that you know is slowly unfolding, always for you, as you. And there is, in every single moment that we are alive, there is something to touch into so strong, so beautiful, even if it feels like you're breaking apart. There is something that is literally peeling off these little pieces or these little layers of an onion you could see, or it wants to unpack you and slowly start to open you. You can see it as a flower. You can see yourself as an opening flower that wants to open more and more. But sometimes, this perspective of, is this really for me? Am I really opening through this hardship? Sometimes you're like, why? How? But for me to feel and know that this unfolding is so juicy, is so erotic, it's, ugh. And that's the practice. That's the practice. And the inspiration is nature. The inspiration is always nature, to see that what is the truth of, I'm stressing, I'm running around. Is that my truth? Or is my truth when I look at a fruit that is ripening on the tree? Man, that takes time. It takes time to slowly ripen itself, to get all the juice or the juice flowing inside, but also to get the sunlight in and to get that color, the juiciness flowing inside, and to see that as a reflection of what life is. Man, that's for me living. That's where I'm all about.
Yeah, there were a lot of pictures that came into my head how you described it. So, do you mean by that whatever is alive or feels alive is like right? You said a bit about, yeah, is this really like what I want? Or I mean, I personally feel often a lot of resistance, like, oh, I should not feel like this because of that. It should be different. And then I put a lot of pressure and resistance. So, do you mean this then? Like opening to that whatever
Mm,
is alive in that moment.
yes, for sure. It's the practice of being able to step out, like to step back, to step on the side outside of yourself and say, hey, can I look at this contraction? Can I look at this huge doubt that you have? And is that really the truth that is alive in me right now? Like, is this gonna bring me closer to the purpose that I'm here to bring to this earth? Or is it actually separating me from my highest purpose? And it's all within those beautiful practices that you can start looking, wait, how can I make from moment to moment choices in my life that are always aligned with the pleasure, the joy, with expansion? And most of the times when we are in these contraction fields, I call it contraction, the fear, the hardship of certain situations, how can and I ask myself a lot this, what if I could open my heart just a little bit? Because most of the time in our body, like our body is that gives that experience, that memory of an experience, the memory of the vibration of the fear of launching a project. But I see us as a uniquely amazing species that can literally say, I choose to do it differently. I choose to walk that path, even though I feel that fear. And thank you, fear. But I choose to walk it anyway. And thank you for showing me that, but I'm going to choose differently because this is my path to walk. But to be able to walk that, you need to get very clear, like, when am I in my mind? When am I, is my heart closed? When do I feel that I'm just like rolling my shoulders and I want to close? And then is the question, what if I open my heart a bit right now? And in my own experience, that has brought me many times to big breakthroughs, where I didn't go into the story of what was the fear, where did it come from, what is the past. No, the practice is to stay here in this moment and feeling, is that the truth? And that's the freaking work that we're here to do on this earth, to walk your own truth.
Yeah, yeah, that lands with me. I can also, yeah, think of moments where then I could open up and then felt like, oh, like it got so wide. And yeah, and like you said, like it was just like the memory kind of that it's scary and I cannot do it. And then I realized, whoa, okay, this is actually like something's shifting. And I feel like every time I get this experience just a little bit, it gives me so much more trust and strength because I feel like it's a lot about trusting yourself or trusting life to allow that.
And funny enough, sometimes it's so simple as, how can I break this pattern? How can I break the pattern of not feeling safe enough to open my heart here in front of this person? How can I break that pattern? To dare to just go and do exactly the opposite. I stay. Like, when you want to run away, wait, breathe, sit. How can I feel safe in my body again? How can I relax again? And do that without running away. You do that. And then after you're more relaxed, you say, hey, now I'm available again, we can continue the conversation. But how many times in this world we don't take the time? We simply don't take the time and space to feel all of that, to be with all of that.
Yeah, I also feel like it's a lot about slowing down because otherwise it feels too messy. Like I cannot really feel it what it actually is or wants. And also, I don't know if that's fitting, but I just had this picture. Sometimes I call it like a positive irritation when you break the pattern. For example, like with my partner, when I was so scared of sharing something or saying something, like, okay, if I share this, like, he's gonna leave me, it's all done, like, everything's, it will be so horrible. And then I share it and then he's still there. It's my brain is like, what the, like, huh? How is it possible? Like, because my system doesn't understand it because it's still used to this like memory of, okay, this will create separation. And then it even creates like closeness and trust and like relationship. And then like, okay, this is so weird, but I guess it's good. Like, wow, that feels really like breaking a pattern. And
Hmm.
then to condition it with this new experience of, oh, I could actually open up and it didn't turn out awful. Or it was not, yeah, that scary like I thought it would be.
Yes, is a beautiful example. And aren't our relationships, whether that is our partner, whether that is our girlfriends or boyfriends and our children, aren't there the biggest mirror? And are there that the scariest ones to face? We don't need a mirror. Yeah, you can use a mirror. There's many beautiful exercise, but to where you are in that moment, which you just described, man, aren't we all there once in a while? Like, man, I can't. I really can't. But we can if we realize and create, use our awareness. How can I bring this? How can I use my voice in a way that is taking the responsibility without blaming the other, without saying it's you, no, it's me. And this is my experience. And if you just vulnerably share, this is my truth. I'm trying the best to the best of my capacity. I'm going to share what is alive in me. And I can always change my words and use it as a kind of play, you know? But if we never step into that play field, the playground, how can we ever play and figure out what is the truth? Sometimes we're too much stuck in staying alone with it. And if we start to open, we have this beautiful and sometimes very hard reflection back like, oh, I really just communicated that like that. And you felt it like that? Oh, that's hard to see, man, that I'm communicating like that. But what a gift, right? What a gift to know I'm communicating like that. Now I can make a choice to do it differently. So, can we find the gifts in every single situation that we're in?
Yeah, you said at the beginning a bit about inner outer nature and like as a kind of reflection. So this was now really about human to human relationship. How can the outer nature supports us in our living in everything basically? Yeah, how do you connect to nature? What does that mean?
So many ways. So, the first one that came to me is literally we are communing, we're creating relationship, or let's say we are forgetting to create relationship with anything outside of us, not only humans. We have relationship with the trees, with Mother Earth, with the dogs, the butterflies. There lays connection in anything, but sometimes that stretches itself further than the spoken words. It can be spoken to you in sensations, it can be spoken to you as a thought. You can communicate with things that you maybe don't perceive as easily right now in this moment as a relationship having communication with the outer world. But that's just a part of starting to play and start to feel. If you go to a tree, can I go and talk to her and ask her? Like, that's what I do here in Sri Lanka, where I am. I try to honor the lands wherever I am. So I go to Mother Earth in the morning and I touch her and I ask her for catching all that I need to release through my breath. And I ask her to feed me back, because I know that the cycle of life is unconditional, it's abundant, and she is there to support us. But I also know that if I go to the tree and I ask her, like, hey, I would love to get to know you. Can you tell me more about this land? I'm speaking to every single organism on this land. And I know that if that's my intention, so it's mostly about creating intentional connection, that there all of a sudden you can continue on living and just use your awareness of how is the land showing to me what their story is. Simple as that. The moon. Look at the moon. She changes, she grows, she becomes smaller, her light disappears, it becomes dark. How is her cycle related to our inner cycle? There's so many ways to commune with the outer world. I think it's important to stay open-minded to something like, show me what I don't know yet, right? Show curiosity. Use your curiosity. If you look at a child, you see the most pure human being on this earth. And the only thing you see is curiosity in the eyes continuously. Whether it's through speech, touch, looking, touch, and you look at her, you're like, you're really so curious. That's the nature that we're coming from. And I forgot sometimes that it can be that simple to just stay curious. Just stay curious and everything's possible. Really, everything's possible.
Yeah, when I think of being curious, yeah, I also have this picture of looking like with new eyes, like always opening up in a new way, not be like, okay, I know this, here's this and this, but we can look at the same surrounding in another way, or maybe, yeah, use another sense of communication. Maybe it's talking or touching, or I feel like there are actually like endless ways we can use to make relationship. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like at the same time, without relationship, there's no life. All life is relationship. But yeah, sometimes it just feels really subtle. Like when we're really in our heads, sometimes I feel like it's hard to grasp or like to tune into it or feel it, especially when we don't take this time to slow it down and be really busy and like whoo and this and like task focused and doing can be really easy also to forget this reality actually. And can you share a practice which helps you to get out of the mind and to land again in the body and in this sense of relationship?
Out of the mind into the body, you say, yeah? There's so many coming to me. It's so funny. It's funny. The first one that came to me is one that we're actually just opening that heart space, because we can get stuck here. And to realize, if we get stuck in our heads, what do you want to do? You want to bring all that energy down, bring it down so that the whole channel is clear again. So what I first do, I have to laugh because actually I showed myself the last week, there's one beautiful way to do this. Mostly when I am in my head, and I practiced this for the last few months because I was like, how can I get out of this? But easily and with pleasure, self-pleasure. That's the thing for me to get back into my body. The thing to say, hi, I want to meet you. And that doesn't mean you need to go all down under, you have to go in and out. No. You create a sacred holding, a sacred space where you can just be with yourself. And you start to be curious. Use that curiosity to just like, you can just touch maybe first your body to feel, where am I actually right now? Because I'm a lot in my head. I'm stuck. So where is my body? Whether you touch really your skin or you just do the outline of your skin. You're like, and you just breathe into that. This is me. This is my body right now. And you just start tuning in. Where do I like to be touched? Where do I like to just breathe into? Where are you ready for in that moment? Because sometimes we're not ready to be touched, even by ourselves. And sometimes the subtleness of our breath is already enough to calm us down. So even using your breath, just visualizing that you're giving all your energy back to the earth, that you're growing your roots, that you really start to anchor yourself into the earth. And you can commune with the earth and ask her, hey, I'm a lot in my head, that's the truth. With every exhale that I take, can you take this away? Like, can you take this energy through my roots? But really focusing on that grounding. So, grounding, whether you visualize it or whether you ground through touching yourself and say, hey, this is you. Hello. And yes, you can go further onto it with, like, I need some oil. I just want soft touch. I want hard touch. I want airy touch. You can use a leaf. You can use whatever. Be creative. But start to create that connection with yourself. It will get you out of your head and into your body.
Yeah, yeah, when you say that, I feel like, yeah, it feels really nourishing, like to do that, and also to recharge, or just to, I mean, why do we want to connect? One, I think one reason is also to recharge our energy and to, yeah, to relax, so that our body can, get into more this the nervous system, yeah, it gets regulated, and this can then, our whole body can do its functions to work properly.
And then it's beautiful, this question where you now get to, like, how can I recharge? What can be the simplest practice throughout my day, even multiple times a day, to recharge myself? To stop from the running mind or from the running habits that we have, and just take a moment, observe what's happening around you, breathe, feel the sun on your skin, or the rain, or hear the thunder. It can be as simple as that.
And I really feel like it's so important, because I know it, that I think, oh, I just do this and this and this, and then at some point I can rest. But then it's so hard to rest if you already are so
Mm.
full. Then I feel like it's the hardest to then calm down. And I can feel such a difference to have this small breaks. Like, even if I do laptop stuff and I just dance for 5 minutes in between, or yeah, just step outside for a few minutes, like, it doesn't have to be big, but
Mm.
at the end of the day I can feel the difference if I took this bit of time to breathe, or to have some kind of centering, and not like tasked doing thing.
So keep on checking in, like, create a structure. What you're saying is beautiful. Structure of, there's space to rest, there's space to tune in with myself, dance, go outside, have a little walk. But use those little rest moments to really also really feel with yourself. Because when I hear you speak about, I'm going, I'm like filling up, I'm running on a mountain and I'm going as high as I can. And the only thing that can happen at some point is a huge drop. And out of my own experience, that comes into burnout, it comes into a menstrual cycle that is completely out of whack, is not existing, or is completely cramping at PMS and everything. It's simply because we didn't stop to feel, didn't stop to process what is happening inside. And when we don't do that, what you say, you keep on doing your to-do list. I started to change the title of my to-do list to be with, because for me that those words have a softness in it, a slow pace for my feeling, and a kindness. Like, I'm caressing myself, like, here, you can be with this. You don't have to do anything, just be with me. Isn't that what we all want? Like, whether you tune into your womb, your heart, your partner, your child. Can you be with me? Just be with me. And we create a connection, and from that connection, something will be unfolding. That's a natural thing, because look at nature. You bloom, it falls apart. It blooms, it falls apart. It's a cycle. So if you keep on nourishing these parts, communing with your womb, communing with your heart, and it's a practice, man, I have not skillfully integrated this all into my life. Definitely not. I will never say that I'm the pro at this. But life gives you opportunities to keep on realigning, rechoosing, saying, hey, I want to be peaceful and not stressed. Thank you for showing me where I'm stressed. Now I can choose the peace route. The vibration of the earth is changing, but there's a lot of people still running. So, what we're doing here, what you're trying to bring forward to this world, what I am trying to bring forward is slow down. But if you look at the world, most of the citizens, most of the human beings at least, they're going so fast. There's a vibration literally of fastness. So the hardship that we find in going slower, it's such a big work. I always say, just be with that and the rest will start unfolding one by one in its own pace, in the pace of nature, as you will. Because, you know, you're not supposed to be like where I am right now. If you give me $1 million tomorrow and a company that has I don't know how many people that will be under me or will be working for me, I will not be able to handle it. My nervous system cannot handle it. So to see every single thing, again, the flower opening up layer by layer, and your nervous system is getting used to the new layer, the new way of being. Can I slow down? Wow, that's difficult, but I'm gonna try. How can I create structures that are supporting my rest? So, how can I create a balance? You can call it the masculine and the feminine energy, so that I feel that I'm held by the masculine, but my feminine can keep on playing inside of that structure. And I think that's something I really got to know when I became a mother. Because you have to. You have to step into that in between space of the two energies, because if you don't, you just, I don't know. I want to be a conscious mother. I want to be present with my child. I choose to do it like I do. And it's not easy at all. Not at all. So I have the deepest respect, and I see how beautiful your work is, how other peoples are trying the best to their abilities to live it out of their pace instead of staying stuck in this mental world. And one day I can see us all in the world being infused with a vibration of peace. And when that is done, when that starts to happen, you will see that nature starts to come back to its natural flowering too. Because look at deep ecology, whatever is happening in us is just reflected back to us on the earth. So do you see how hot it gets on the earth right now? Imagine how much fire there is in humankind. If it's just that simple, anything is showing us what's happening or what is needed. So I say, when I see so much fire and heat, we need a lot of water and we need a lot of juiciness and pleasure in this life. That's why I come back to this juicy, slowly erotic unraveling
Mm.
of life. That's nature.
Oh, there were a lot of topics in this. Big ones, huge
Sorry.
ones, actually. No, it's beautiful. But one thing I think I would like to add is really like taking out that pressure. Then also, I have to rest now. I have to take a break now. I have to, because this I also feel, and then it's it's like reproducing the same you want to like step out of. But I mean, it happens to me so many times. But then, yeah, also be okay with that and really go out of this like really harsh self judgment of now, I'm talking about we have to feel more in a body. I'm not in a body. How can I, I have these thoughts and judgment about myself then, because I'm, yeah, trying to do things differently in some ways, but I fail in a way a lot of times. but then also be gentle with myself, be like, okay, no, we're just stuck in it again, I guess. But okay, like, whew, breathe out and be with that also. And also, yeah, like, no, like taking these breaks, like I cannot force myself, like, nervous system, now chill, like you have to relax now, like, because this is exact the opposite energy. But I feel like, yeah, like you said, we are in this world and we have outer influence, and we were born into this society. And I mean, I don't know so much about you growing up, but I'm sure you didn't grow up like this. I mean, most of us didn't.
Not at all.
So there's so much to also unlearn and to
Mm,
reframe, and yeah, to get out of this fastness, but still, how you said, balance this, like, masculine and feminine energy. And I mean, still do things, of course, and get things kind of done. And like you said, your mother, of course, you have to take care, and you cannot just, I don't know, like, be just flowy and okay, now I'm not feeling it. I mean, you cannot do that with a little child who needs you, of course. I mean,
mm,
it's not that just one thing or that simple to um and you have to, yeah, take care of some stuff, to nourish you and to have food on the table and all that stuff,
mm,
of course.
mm,
So yeah, and I think, yeah, the most wonderful thing what we can do, what you also just did, to appreciate each other and to see, um yeah, each other in what, that we are on the way, and that we tap into it, and we show ourselves, and we, just appreciate the progress, or not progress is maybe not a good word, but the attempt, or the way of, yeah, of going for it, and but also going for it gently, not like, okay, now I'm just this way, and because that's not gonna work well. And also, when we talk about this, like, inner world, outer world, if I want a world with, like, less pressure and less fastness, if I just pressure myself the whole time, it won't
mm,
be easier on the outside, then I cannot create this world with less pressure if I just pressure
mm,
myself all the time. I mean, that's also this inner outer, like, interconnection, always in exchange, I think.
mm.
So yeah, that's, yeah, what landed with me when you said that. That's what I had to
Yeah, it
think of.
starts all within, right? It's as simple as that. It starts within. Doesn't mean it's a simple job to do, but it starts there. And it starts from a little frequency, it starts from a little vibration, a thought, an emotion. And from there, I always see it as something pops up, whether in however way, and you can decide to run the story of the memory of it. How often do we find ourselves stuck in, like, there I go again? Or your partner or whoever's outside says, you see, you're doing it again. You're like, and to practice it over and over, to not react to this pointing, like, hey, you see that happening again? Man, it's what you say. I agree. It's gentleness, it's kindness. We need to just say, hey, wow, okay, that happened. And yes, there's what you say, like, there's progress. There's always progress. There always is. Because today, or let's say yesterday, I didn't catch myself in the conflict. I run out my story until my partner said, boom, there it is. But now, maybe today, when there's something came up, I was the one calling myself out and stopping. Or even I caught myself halfway the story instead of at the end. There's always a progress, and I see it as a muscle that we need to practice. And there's always growth. We are evolving every single time. Look at how our bodies adapt to the climate change or the rising of the temperatures. Our body are amazing. They can change, they can evolve all the time. So why can they not evolve in thoughts, in speech? It's just, it needs devotion, commitment, dedication. You need to sit with it, be with it. If you don't, you just live your life as you want. And I say to people, if that's what you want, do it. Keep doing it. But if you want it differently, you can choose to. It's all up to you. And I say it with the utter kindness, I'm not going to push anyone because that will go nowhere. Calling each other out, possible. Yeah, please do it in a loving way, because if you just say, whoa, that's you, blah, 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 the other one is not going to feel held or hurt or anything. Like, to remember that we're all universal. What I feel, the other person feels, the nature feels it. When I am not in alignment, or if my nervous system is off, I will see it back in my child. You're off, I will cry because you're not crying. That's how it works, simply.
Mm. Yeah, this is so interesting. Yeah, like you said, little human beings have this capacity. Like I remember like in a circle and there was a lot of tension. And it was like, yeah, maybe also 2 year old, not even like 1.5. And it was the first time she actually like punched her parents. But it really felt like an expression of there's so much tension in this room, and it showed it, like she was expressing it because I guess she felt, I mean, we all felt it, but I'm sure she felt it even more and has another capacity to react on it, of course.
But isn't it so funny? You don't need a child. Yes, it's in your face and all the stuff, but if you just sometimes realize, like, where the hell did this anger come from? You know? Sometimes all of a sudden, it's there. And then sometimes I realize, like, we are all processing together. So whenever I process for so many others in this world. So I see, as you getting angry, me getting angry, that's a lot of anger in this world. Yes, I will link it back to pasts and experiences and all. And sometimes I catch it back to the bigger picture, even to say, but there's just so much to process. And I think I can hold it. I am practicing this. So I can hold it. I will process it for us. It's not our task to process for others, but it's something that is a natural occurrence of. When you start to vibrate in a vibration that is peaceful, the others will pick that up. You start to communicate in a very authentic way, which is taking a lot of responsibility for your own experience. Others will say, wow, they will see it and they will come to you out of that interest. You will start attracting those people that love that too, that want that are feeling safe with that feeling loved by that. It starts with the vibration of yourself. We as human beings, we have a great capacity to feel. You just have to practice this. Feel your touch, feel your words, feel your thoughts. Are they loving? Are they kind? Or is it the opposite? What if we change it? Try over and over again. It's a great observation. See it as a meditation through life.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot in my life right now, and like being in, yeah, this, for example, like really peaceful vibration, and then it can actually have an impact without even talking or saying, but just with this vibration. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess this is something you have to kind of experience yourself, because I mean, before I experienced it myself, I also thought it's a bit like weird or like, spacey, kind of like, what the fuck, like how you cannot change something with, you know without actions, material actions or physical actions.
Mm.
But I guess it's also something, I mean, you maybe have to be a bit open for it, but then it happens like everywhere. And
If you see something, you cannot unsee it. You're right.
yeah, and like not feel it anymore. because it's
Mm.
more, I mean, it's more subtle often. It's not
Mm.
so physical, materialistic.
Mm.
I shared a bit in a podcast about this stuff also. And I just like to always empathize that it's not that I always was in that state and believed all that. It's through experience, because I'm also born into this society which just sees scientifically materialistic, it's all like separated kind of mentality. That's also was my worldview for a lot of years. So it feels so much more magic, and there's so much more trust, and that, Mother Earth has my back. Like, she's supporting me, and that's the biggest support I can get, because she's everywhere. If there's not a human around right now to maybe hold me, then maybe I can just lay on the ground or just speak to her. And that's such a beautiful gift and gives me so much strength. Hmm.
Kinship. We're all in this together, right? Together, more in just human.
So let's see. Maybe some things come up, because we met in Orville. I don't know where you were on your journey, but for me, this was regarding these topics really like essential time for me. Also, with changing the energy, I shared this in another episode, that for me was so weird that people like meditate when you have a meeting, that people are not debating or not are there for discussion. They're just holding space and just bringing like energy in there. I remember when I first came to Auroville, I thought that's really weird. And why do they just sit around? Like, why would it matter? And then I had this crazy experience that we were supposed to hold space. And I was like, that's boring. I just sit around. But then I mentally called Gabriel, which who was also part of the group, like, Gabriel, come out, come here, just as fun. And he felt that. Like, he reacted on that and felt that I was calling him. And then, it just switched. I'm like, okay, it matters if I put in here like anger and or if I put here like qualities like good communication, peace, because it was like some kind of tricky subject which they were talking about, that it actually makes a difference with what energy I sit there, even if I don't participate in the actual talking. That for me was the most clear experience, to be like, okay, that really makes a difference how I am present in that room, even without engaging. And that's, I didn't believe that before that.
Yes, and that's how frequency works. And that's the subtle words that we are discovering. That's our capacity. That's what we're capable of. Wow. So when you start being in that space, what you say, like, we can communicate, but if we start to radiate positivity just to in this space, even holding it in light, man, you're infusing. You can see yourself as a pond, and there's one little drop, and then you see these ripple effects, right? That's you are there dripping all the time with I am peace, I am love, I am present. All the high vibrational emotions, words, affirmations, and then you ripple that out to everybody else's pond. Everyone is a pond. So if I ripple more and more and more, they will start to vibrate in that too. They start to catch the little waves. And that's how simple it works. If you touch a tuning fork, the other tuning fork will start to go and do the same thing. It will start moving, it will start vibrating in the same ring, because vibration travels through space and it touches whatever it passes by, right? And if we start to radiate in that beautiful higher frequency, you will start creating literally a field of that around you. And everything that you've ever visualized, it will just come and float to you. You don't have to do as much. So then we get out of this to do list and we get into being. Because if I be with myself and I be with my thoughts are positive, my thoughts are from a high vibration. I want to say, I'm not scared to hold myself in all the emotions, in all the facets of myself, because I know I can hold you and I will love all of the parts of myself. That's the self-love journey that we were on together, I think. And then we start to radiate that out. And it's so simple. That's why I love to work with frequency medicines. Basically, just supporting their system to stay in that balance, which I mean, stay in that in between space. It's amazing that that was your breakthrough in a room, in a conflict room in Oroville. So, so beautiful. It's magical, yeah. And that time on earth, I think we all touched into layers of ourselves that we were like, what's this? What's this life? What does it mean to be alive?
So, if people are more interested in what you're talking, is there any way to engage with you?
Yes, there is. It's literally all in the making, it's all in process, but it also goes in the pace of nature. So you can always reach out on Instagram, on the Terlouw. And yes, there's many different ways that are coming up to work with me. There will be one-on-one coaching. There will be a program starting where we're going to dedicate some time and space and practice to communing with our womb, with our inner oracle, I call her. And soon it will take the time it takes. Everyone will be invited to come to our commune of pleasure, a sacred space where all the practices, workshop courses, retreats, whatever you envision of creating more pleasure of in your life, it will be a sacred ground to come and learn about that. So there's many things in the making, and it's about to become very juicy in my life.
Oh, sounds very beautiful. I can only see that it's probably really valuable. Yeah, how I perceive you and what you um yeah share. Yeah, I put the link of your Instagram in the show notes.
Thank you.
There's also a lot on your Instagram already, which is really valuable, I think. I really like to see your content. It gives me a
I
lot of
love,
inspiration.
yes, I love to play around, to come play with me, come create some connection here. So I love when you're responding and when all the others respond. We're just creating connection on this earth together.
So, is there anything else you want to share before we are about to close?
Just a deep, deep gratitude. One for you to speaking about what deeper ecology actually is and bringing that to the people. And there is this huge gratitude after this conversation. I feel like, wow, how amazing is it that we're all doing this together? And I see this web, you are there in Europe, in Germany, I'm here in Sri Lanka, and we're kind of like creating this energetical connections all over the world. And I can see how that becomes at some point a warm womb, like a warm space where everyone can be held. And I hope that these little lines, these little ripple effects will just spread out. I know it is. It's not hoping, I know it is. And I just want to thank anyone listening to these episodes, to listen to this podcast. Thank you for what you're bringing to this earth and the work that you do on yourself. Thank you for doing your best. Really.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. And yeah, I just still think it's so crazy that you're in Sri Lanka, I'm Germany, and we can talk. It's just, I think that's already crazy in some ways. Like, I could have not thought of this, like, if it's not
Mm,
already like a normal thing. I just want to point that out, that this is also already just yeah,
yes. It feels so
crazy
normal, right?
technology
It
happening.
feels so normal.
Yeah, but
When you said this, I was like, maybe one day we can record this, but like we don't even need a computer. We don't even need microphones. We
yeah.
can just create this conversation through the air and through the energy. And I believe it's possible. Like by now, I believe anything's possible. So
Yeah.
I say, universe, give it to me. Show me what's possible. And that's the field of possibilities. It's called the quantum field. And that's where we're living in. But we're not aware of all the time. But there's so many possibilities. So bring it on.
Hmm. So when I also have like always the last question is also always the
Come.
same. So Anne, what's the most beautiful thing that could happen tomorrow?
I would say peace for everyone. That everyone could experience and recognize and sit within what peace could mean for themselves. So that they have this memory, this memory of this is how good it gets to be. This is how peaceful it can be. And then you have kind of this vantage point like, that's it. That's where I'm going. Come to me. That's what I want everyone to experience that. Because if we have the vision and we have the lived experience through sensation, through visualization, through all your senses, it gets way clearer where you have to move and which choices you have to make to start to walk the path in alignment to your soul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I hope you feel inspired by this talk, and if you feel like you want to connect with Anne, actually when this podcast will be released, she's also releasing a program, and there will be more information in the show notes, or just check out her Instagram. Yes, that's it for today, and I hope to connect with you on the next Moon.